This is Iron Lateran. He is a realistic, medieval, lore-locked, hardcore Iron Man. This means that he can't use magic, can't runecraft, can't use any magical items, or teleports. My goal is to explore the world of Runescape as a scholar of literature and medieval lore and see how it stacks up to the real thing. I'll be doing this experiment as long as is needed, but in the meantime, I have monsters to slay, heretics to persecute, lessons to learn,
Pizza is not consistent with a medieval RPG.
and quests to complete. Enjoy!
So I think I've discovered a slight problem with my plan to use leather to craft, because it takes money to use thread and to convert the leather from the hide into the leather. And money is going to be my least accessible resource because all the cash I make has to come straight from the general store. My early crafting levels are going to be done purely through wool and flax until level 40, at which point I can get into the crafting guild and I can use the molds for the gold bracelets. Gold bracelets sell at 220 for low alch, and that's going to be my best option because even when those drop down to 10%, it'll still be 22 each, and if I sell them at the Rogue's Den, it's going to be significantly better for the first few. Dwarves in medieval lore have a kind of interesting history because the modern dwarf that we depict in our fantasy stuff was pretty much invented by J.R.R. Tolkien in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Dwarves, for most of the medieval period, were referred to pretty interchangeably with elves, especially in Norse mythology, which is really just Germanic mythology. So when we say dwarf, we are referring to the dwarves of the Norse mythology, which is the Germanic mythology. So, you know, Odin and Svartalheim and the Vanir and the Seer and all these different things. So these dwarves here are very much Tolkien-esque dwarves. Okay, I love this quest from a medieval perspective because during the medieval era, flags and heraldry were not standardized. So your color blue might not be the same color blue as the guy standing next to you, just because of what dyes were available in what areas or the quality of the material from which you made your clothing or your flag. Flags were not standardized, okay? The flag of Ulster in Ireland had a lot of different iterations all used at the same time. Sometimes with a red hand with a thumb extended, sometimes with a thumb in, sometimes it was the left hand. Okay, all these variations, but they were still just generally recognized as the flag, okay? Even if it was slightly off. So I love this quest because this is a very real conversation that two military minds might have. What color should we wear? How do we get a hold of those dyes, etc.? And part of the problem is that because dyes are made from specific materials, they don't always mix well. Okay, later in this quest, we're gonna mix yellow and blue, and that's gonna make green. Okay, that works great on a painting, but not necessarily when you're adhering something to another material. So if you wanted a specific hue, you very often had to use the exact same material processed in the exact same way until you had that color. You couldn't just lighten or darken a color by mixing it with something else. You could sometimes, but not always. I'm running through the horrible White Wolf passageway right now. It is a little bit of a misnomer. Wolves are not particularly dangerous to humans. Okay, that was terrifying. Obviously the purpose of us picking flax here is to spin them into bowstrings. And believe it or not, this is 100% accurate to medieval era. Gut strings, while very popular and very effective, were not actually used in medieval longbows. They were made from hemp, flax, or even silk. So the use of flax here is 100% accurate to a medieval bowstring. I'm also going to point out that when I first started doing this, I thought that they were made of gut. And I even made a recording saying, you know what, I'm not sure this is right. But I searched it, and sure enough, it's flax. This is a great example of where doing your research can overturn an assumption that you've made. A lot of people aren't willing to accept that what they think they know is right is actually wrong. But that's one of the most important parts about learning and being open to education and learning new things, is you have to be able to say, hey, I was wrong, I don't know that thing. So I made a recording saying this is made of gut, flax would not be the go-to plant, and I was wrong. Flax is definitely the right material here. So good job, Jagex. You taught me something. Oh, this is so unfortunate. Oh, I want the Freaky Forester's clothing so bad. Oh, it would be so lore friendly, but he teleports me, right? Yeah, he teleports me. Okay, wait, I'm in a forest, right? I'm in a forest, he's not teleporting me away, he's gonna teleport me right back here. I have to find a quail. That's totally fine. I'd say this is okay. I'm gonna talk to him. Can you help me with some pheasants? Pheasants, not quail, okay. I think this is okay. It gets me lore-friendly clothing. I'm already in a forest, so it's not like he's taking me to some other location. I think this is okay. I'll be open about this. Yep. See, it's like he just walked off another direction. Yeah. Kill the pheasant with 2 tails. Okay. 2-tailed pheasant, you're mine. He just flopped over. Here, quick replay that. All right, Lederhosen top. Look at us, we're so medieval. All right, I do have to double check really when this style was popularized, but I would have to say if you're a Dutch person in 1400, how different could the clothes possibly be, you know? Okay, so I did some research. I had to translate a few pages via Google. But it looks like as early as the 6th century, there were leather pants outfits, which were sort of the precursor to the lederhosen as we know it today, that were worn all over Europe. Leather clothing was just extremely popular, and it wasn't until they started cutting this short in a lot of German-speaking countries to make it easier to clean and more hardy for a work environment. They were sort of like early overalls, really. So, is the lederhosen 100% medieval? It's kind of a stretch, especially since it didn't really hit popularity until the 1600s. But did it exist? I'd say yes, absolutely. A variation of the lederhosen existed. It may not have had that name, so calling it the lederhosen top is a little disingenuous. But I'm gonna have to say, the fact that it did exist, even if it wasn't super popular, still leaves it a viable option. This is the 3rd genie I have seen while collecting flax, and I can't accept any of them. So disheartening. Ugh, goodbye. I apologize in advance for this next section. I had to re-record over these scenes because my mic cord got wrapped around my power cord and there was a ton of high squeaky interference. So that's why I'm doing a voiceover on these sections. It's just an abridged version of what I had to do to get back over White Wolf Mountain. So rather than collecting food because I didn't have a lot of good options, I just decided to start the fishing contest quest, and I fished to level 10 via shrimps. Then I entered McGruber's Woods. I had some comment here about common land, but I can revisit that another time. I entered the woods, and then, believe it or not, I disconnected in the middle of running away from the level 44 hounds. So I was really glad that I had apparently run far enough away. After that, I turned in the Fishing Guild quest, got to level 18, and ran back under the mountain to safety. Aha! Goblins, I have to kill you to help you. Trust me, this is for your own good. Okay, I am totally taking this ensouled goblin head, not because I can use it for magic, but because keeping the head of my enemy is just super badass. I am not yet half done with the Flax runs, and I can tell you, I am already bored of this. I can't imagine 300 hours of swamp lizards. Jeez. I'm excited. 40 crafting. There it is. We can enter the crafting guild. That is what we have been looking for. So we're going to get our brown apron. We're going to get our smithing up to 40. We're going to get going on some gold. We're going to make some money. Let's do it.
One thing that I will say isn't terribly accurate about this mining and smithing situation is that you would not do all of the metals yourself. A blacksmith really only worked iron and steel or other very, very hard metals, but iron and steel were primarily the only ones worked. There were two other significant smiths, a brown smith or coppersmith and a whitesmith. The idea of being a jack of all trades smith who did all of them, not super common, okay? They would have had very different equipment, very different training, and ooh, look at this guy. He is rearing and ready to go. Level 27. That is some intense armor for level 27. So far, I haven't grabbed the hardcore Iron Man armor because it just feels kind of wrong to walk into this world where you're supposed to build yourself up and have pretty decent gear already. It kind of feels like the heritage armor in World of Warcraft. It just doesn't feel honest. And it is lore friendly. It looks lore friendly, except for the slight reddish hue, but that could be explained away by a lot of things. But the style itself is pretty lore friendly. It looks like a good set of plate armor. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Should I get the hardcore Iron Man set or not? Okay. Go ahead and comment below the video if you think I should or should not get the hardcore Iron Man set. Just for the record, everybody, I like to hang out on World 342 because my comments to people will be better received and maybe get better responses from anybody else who's role-playing on this world. So if you'd like to come join me ever, then that's the world to check, alright? Aw, that's so cute. That goblin was holding some useless painted rocks. Oh, I wonder what he was doing that for. A friend of mine was recently complaining about the lack of a fleshed out canoe system, and I have to agree, not just because I'm playing this Iron Man, but because if you're going to put something in the game, you should actually flesh it all the way out. There's a lot of rivers in RuneScape, and very few of them actually have fleshed out canoe systems. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. I can't even find the other canoe system, if there even is one. I'll have to look it up, but look, there's a lot of rivers. There should be a canoe system from the Tree Gnome Stronghold out to the fishing colony. There should be a canoe system from the falls here down to Castle Wars. There should be a stop in our dune. Like, this would be an amazing feature, but I guess it's too much like sailing and everybody's just gonna downvote it, right? As I was looking up the canoe system, I realized that the word canoe is Native American in origin. But of course, boats existed, okay? Small boats existed, so he can use canoes, guys. Obviously, well, I'm just gonna call it a boat. How's that, okay? It doesn't literally need to be a canoe, alright, in this world. It's obviously a Native American word, but that's fine. Small boats existed. All right, so before I can hear your keyboards clacking, okay? He can use small boats. It's fine. Oh, here it is. I am so excited. Finally. All right, we are entering the crafting guild. Welcome to the Guild of Master Craftsmen. You got that right. We can make money now by mining the gold, smithing it into bricks, and then using the bracelet mold. Right, this is going to be the primary money-making method. I'm going to need a few thousand for all the gear that I'm going to have to buy at End of Dorgeshin. They don't just give it to you. So I'm going to earn some gold and then get moving on the rest of our skills. I was really hoping to start a quest by the end of this episode, other than the fishing contest to get under White Wolf Mountain, because I was scared to go back over. But I think we're going to have to call it here. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully by the time I see you next, I can begin my ranged training and we can get just one step closer to our quest. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.